What's going on, YouTube? Culturedog Sam Hatch back with another video, and this time we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of this channel. I had actually signed up for this channel a while ago, and I'd been doing, I mentioned before, I had another YouTube channel where I did mostly metal interviews and stuff like that with metal musicians and whatnot. And I've been doing stuff about movies on the radio for well over a decade, and thought, I should actually do some cool things about that on YouTube. And it was quickly after finding that there were some interesting LaserDisc related videos and the kind of falling in love with that, and then deciding, I should do some collection videos and that sort of thing. That really put the fire under my tuchus to get that going. So originally I scrapped my kind of original idea for what I was going to do with this channel, and it had just been kind of lingering silently for at least a year, and then kicked things up a notch and started with the Halloween challenge of watching 31 horror films in 31 days, and then quickly jumped into LaserDisc content, and that opened this Pandora's box of awesomeness in this case. And so it's been a wild ride, and I wish I had even more content that I could put out on a weekly basis. And it's a little crazy trying to fit it all in with the day job and all sorts of other stuff, but I have a total blast doing it. So I definitely aim to keep up with the content, and I've got tons of ideas. I still want to do more things, and hopefully there'll be enough time and all these days to squeeze it all in there and keep things rolling. And especially it's been amazing just corresponding with everybody out there, all the other film fans out there, people that are into old video formats, new video formats, etc. So cheers to everybody for watching my channel and subscribing, and just all the feedback and conversations that have been going on over the past year. Speaking of which, I put out the feelers for a Q&A, so I got a couple questions that rolled in. I figured we'll answer those and celebrate the 1-year anniversary with some questions. First off is John the Justified Ancient Jenkins with how many films do you currently have in your collection of video formats? And roughly VHS, I don't have an exact number up, but I checked my tracking software, and I've got 1,155 DVDs listed and 362 Blu-rays listed, so about a little bit over 1,500, which if I had sold off so much stuff a couple of years ago, that would probably be well over 2,000 right now. But then I've got about 425 LaserDiscs or so. So overall about 2,000, give or take. And then with VHS tapes, that'll push that over a little bit, but just about there. So a small collection. And the Thing King wrote, is there any reason why you say we at the end of your videos, even though it's only you as an individual? For example, in this video, you say, we'll talk to you soon. We would never say anything crazy like that.
You said we again. They know.
Martin Otley asks, was curious of your opinion on video scalers. I personally don't use one, as I'm more than happy with my 2012 ISF calibrated plasma, but wondered a different perspective on the subject. What do you think? And any point of view on SqueezeLED versus letterbox editions, comparison side by side, etc. would be very cool. Regards. Video scalers, it's funny that a lot of people are looking to them to be especially in the case of LaserDisc, they're looking at them to be a kind of a wonder drug, and this kind of magic pill that's going to bring and elevate your standard definition LaserDiscs to a high definition quality, at least, or maybe DVD quality. That said, a lot of TVs inherently have pretty good upscalers built into them. So if you just plug in your composite video jack from your LaserDisc player if you have a legacy composite jack on your TV, it's probably going to look pretty good compared to a scaler. So the trap a lot of people fall into is that they end up going to pick up those relatively cheap HDMI hub scalers you can get on like Amazon or something for $50, and it's not going to deliver anything that your TV doesn't already do. Only if it's a case where you need an HDMI input, your TV doesn't have any legacy inputs at all. I guess that kind of makes sense. But otherwise, really, I wouldn't suggest jumping into the whole kind of like upscaler market unless you're going to kind of start with like a DVD-O or something, and you can get those for a couple $100 or so. But anything under that is, like I said, unless you specifically need an HDMI converter or something like that. What's in your TV, like you mentioned, is probably going to be just as good. But I mean, I love the kind of Swiss Army knife nature of my DVD Edge Green and like what it does. It's amazing, and it's kind of like a one-stop shopping center for all my video needs. I've got an older AV receiver that doesn't have HDMI switching, everything like that, so it's a good solution for me personally in my system. And then talking about the SqueezeLEDs, the only one I have is Unforgiven, and there were only a handful of them released in the States, and they were never actually available for sale. SqueezeLEDs are anamorphically squeezed LEDs. It's pretty much the same technology that was in DVDs. If you have a 1.33 to 1 television frame, and then you have a letterboxed film like, say Unforgiven, that's 2.35 to 1. There's going to be big black bars in the top and bottom. So what DVD did to get around the wasting of the resolution on a lot of the black bars was they would have the image formatted for like a widescreen television, and then squeezed so it filled 1.33 to 1 frame. But if you had a widescreen television, you could unsqueeze it and fill the widescreen television. And it worked really well for DVD. And I think if it had been integrated better in LaserDisc, that might have helped LaserDisc maintain an edge for maybe a little bit longer. Give it another second wind or something towards its dying days. So there are a lot of Japanese releases, not a lot really, but Cliffhanger, Basic Instinct, Terminator 2. The concept is cool. I know some of the transfers on those aren't really the best, but that's just because they weren't really the best transfers. I think implemented correctly, Squeeze LaserDisc would have been a really, really cool thing, and I think you would have been pretty well blown away by some of the, like maybe some of the The Fifth Element or something that had come out on a SqueezeLED. It would probably definitely equal its DVD counterpart, because the regular LaserDisc edition already kind of rivals the DVD counterpart. But yeah, so I only have one so far. I'm looking to get the Fugitive, and maybe I'll pick up some of the Japanese ones and report back. I'll see if I can do some sort of video comparison at some point in the future, maybe during the Video Essentials series, because that'd be pretty cool. Because I'll be talking about the high-def LaserDisc, the Muse ones, and definitely talk about Squeeze ones. So thanks for writing in, man. ND Entertainments writes in, do you prefer CAV or CLV releases? And I'm okay with either, actually. I don't mind switching discs or flipping them or whatever. I've got a lot of auto flip players, but it doesn't really bother me. And I've always had a great kind of appreciation for the similarity to changing film reels and when you're flipping a disc or switching sides or something like that. So I don't know, it kind of feels more of an event when you're watching a film like Star Wars or something that's broken up across 9 sides or whatever. So I don't mind that. I guess the only real question for me would be picture quality. And I know some CLV discs were inherently prone to more crosstalk and whatever. But I mean, a lot of the discs that I'm collecting from the 90s and especially like mid 90s or so, CLV discs looked really good. So I'm not seeing a major loss in quality from stepping to CLV from CAV. So I'm cool with either, really. I mean, the benefits of CAV with the freeze framing and all that stuff doesn't really mean much to me anymore, because I've got a couple digital effects decks, so I can pause on CLV discs, etc. So I think back in the day, I would have probably been more prone to saying CAV, so I can do all the freeze frame and all that stuff. But that doesn't really mean too much to me anymore. Do you prefer analog or digital sound, including AC3 and DTS? And yeah, I pretty rarely listen to the analog sound on my LD players. Pretty much, I'm always pumping out, if I can, the digital signal to my receiver and letting that decode it. And I do enjoy the AC3 and DTS tracks, and whichever one is on the disc, I'll default to that. And even though AC3 has a pretty low bit rate on LaserDisc, it sounds pretty immersive for the most part, and just about all the AC3 titles I have sound great. So yeah, if I have an analog only disc, I'll listen to analog. If I have a disc that has PCM surround or just PCM stereo, I'll listen to that. Then if it's got AC3 or DTS, I'll default to that. And what is your favorite LaserDisc player as of now? Favorite as I own. I mean, I'd love to have a HLD X9 or an XO or something crazy like that. Some boutique player or something like a Runco LJR2, but I don't foresee that happening. But out of my flock of players, the CLD D704, just because it has just such a high video signal to noise ratio, and it's got that pile of outputs in the back of it, so I can hook up Dolby Digital, DTS, etc. So I really dig the fact that it's got everything. That said, my other favorite player is the Quasar LD700, which is a monster, man. That is a Quasar rebadge of the Panasonic LX900, which is great, but it doesn't have a lot of the problems the 900 had, which was some missing image on the right side of the frame, and sometimes it had an automatic gain control issue where it would, the black levels would kind of be boosted occasionally. So that LD700, man, that's like my secret beast. I love that thing. The only drawback is it has digital out, but it doesn't have an AC3 RF out. So I'd like to get that modded, and once that's modded, that might replace my D704 in my main system. So that's it for now. But Jack Death wrote in, how long have you been collecting media, and how do you keep track of what you have? Probably about 30 years or so. Yeah, mid 80s, I was getting my first VHS tapes, and that were mine. And yeah, that's got to be about, before that, we had the family tapes and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the stuff I've actually held on to, like, probably mid 80s. And I keep track of my LaserDiscs on the LaserDisc Database, lddb.com. Highly recommend it if you're a fan of LaserDisc, because not only is it a great resource for tracking your own discs, but it also has some great resources. There's shops where you can purchase discs from other people, but there's also lists of all the DTS discs if you want to hunt those down, all the AC3 discs, all the discs that are prone to rotting, and all the LaserDisc diehards are great at updating the pages for each individual title and letting you know all the different pressings and stuff like that. So it's a great place. So if you're into LaserDisc, definitely that's the first place you should go. And for everything else, Film Aficionado, which used to be called DVD Aficionado, that was my DVD tracking site of choice, and it still is. So I broken up all my Blu-rays and my DVDs and all sorts of different categories. It's cool. So I always, whenever I pick up a stack of stuff, I always go in there and log that in right away. VHS is just kind of, I remember it in my head. And but yeah, that stuff really helps keep track of things. CreepKiller55 wrote in, my question to you is actually vinyl related. What's your most prized vinyl record? And man, that's a tough one. I got a lot of favorites. Let me see if I can find something cool down here. It's not actually like legitimate, but I remember the vinyl I was the most excited about getting back in the day, and I never thought I would get, was this bootleg limited edition of 1500 Metallica Damaged Justice Tour 89, apparently recorded live in Japan. I mean, the photos from Japan, but apparently it is actually recorded in, I think, an Olympic swimming pool arena in Japan. It's a 3 LP set, and they're just simple black label, white label stuff. But I found this at a local record shop, and it was priced pretty highly, and I had a friend of mine, we were in this like bidding war for it. He was like, I'm going to buy it. And I'm like, I saw it first, and we were pretty much at each other's throats, and I kind of feel bad because he put some money down on it and was never able to pick it up, and I went back to the same shop like months and months and months later, and they had taken the deposit amount off of the price of it, so I actually picked this up for next to nothing, thanks to one of my friends. So I feel bad that he was never able to kind of dredge up the rest of the scratch to pick it up, but I was so in love with this disc, and I was a huge raging Metallica fan, and this thing was just a must-have for me. So yeah, 6 sides, and it even has the live one from the Grammy Awards. There's a CD counterpart I also picked up too, which is pretty cool too. But I love that vinyl box set. Also, like Slayer's Vinyl Conflict box, but that's not just one disc. That's a whole collection of albums. I mean, that's 3 discs too, but it's just one release. So I'll go with that one. And what else is on the question list? Lee Kara wrote in, if you could recast your favorite movie, who would you choose? Past and present actors allowed. Well, my favorite movie is Vertigo. I was just thinking about that. That's a tough one to recast. Right now I'm leaning towards Daniel Craig and Bryce Dallas Howard. That's a really weird mixture, but they would be Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak. So we'll stick with that. Yeah. Polecat13360 wrote in a DLP or LCD. And I'll cheat. SXRD, which is actually, I guess, technically, it's a LCD kind of based technology. So I'm leaning more towards LCD. DLP, I was a big fan of projectors in the beginning of the kind of digital revolution for televisions, between LCD, DLP, and plasma. DLP had some pretty nice contrast ratios, so blacks were very black, and it didn't have the screen door effect that early LCDs had. When I jumped into LCD, screen door effect really wasn't much of an issue anymore. But that said, the contrast ratio wasn't killer. But then, JVC had its LCOS, or liquid crystal on silicon, and then Sony had pretty much the same technology, just called SXRD, and that's like a juiced up version of LCD, and that's what I've got now, and I love that. Yeah, so if I was to get another projector, I'd probably get another Sony or JVC. So, SXRD all the way. Kablam Bandicoot 64 wrote in from previously. This was a tail end of my first Q&A, but I never got a chance to answer it, so I'm going to throw those down right now. Favorite animated movie? And that is a tough one. Favorite anime movie would be Akira. Hands down. Favorite Disney movie would probably be Beauty and the Beast. And favorite Pixar movie would be WALL-E. So, there you go. A couple of different options for you. Best animated movie with a LaserDisc box set special edition. And that for me would be a tie between Toy Story and The Nightmare Before Christmas. And the third question was, is an elite LD player that much better than a middle range player? And it actually really depends. There's a wide range of elite players, and some of them were really just kind of mid-range players with an elite tag written on them. The ones that people are usually talking about in terms of high quality are the CLD 99 and the CLD 97. That said, they're both not that much different from a CLD D704, except they've got different comb filters, etc. But that said, unless you're connecting it to an older television set, the comb filters, you're going to be bypassing those, or you shouldn't even be worried about them because they're old, outdated comb filter technology. So that said, like, what they bring to the table isn't really much that a CLD D704 isn't bringing to the table already. It's just you get one, street cred for having an elite player. Two, you get that crazy urushi black shiny finish. And three, you get some crazy wood paneling and all that stuff. Performance-wise, the CLD 97 is probably the best of the bunch. But the CLD 79 is also very nice, which is pretty much just like a straight 704 with fancy finish. But yeah, so it's not. I don't think it's going to be an amazing increase in quality over something like a 704. But that said, like a 704 over like a 504 is a pretty big difference because of the signal ratio. So that's mostly it's that video signal ratio. But the Elite itself, all that brought to the table and all that meant doesn't mean as much now as it used to back in the day. Josh T wrote in, "Hey Culturedog, do you watch your LaserDisc through regular RCA cables, or do some LaserDisc players have S-video?" And yes, regular RCA all the way. I know some LaserDisc enthusiasts like Rachel Bellamy would always say you should just tape over your S-video ports on your players because that's where the comb filter comes into play. Basically, LaserDisc is a composite signal. It's got the color and the black and white combined on the disc. And what you want to do basically is you want to keep that together and let something good split that signal back up into color and black and white. If your player does it, it puts it out through the S-video, and then you're counting on mid-90s technology to do it. So pretty much anything that you buy now, a DVD recorder, a TV or whatever, is going to have a better comb filter. It's going to do a better job at splitting that signal than what's in your LaserDisc player. So it may seem intuitive to, go for that S video. It's that step above the composite jack, but LaserDisc is inherently composite, so try and keep that as pure as possible until you get to something that can do the job well. That's why a lot of people use DVD recorders, because a lot of, especially early 2000s, DVD recorders had great comb filters in them. With that said, there are some players that, unfortunately, split the signal and then like recombine it and put it back out to the composite. So it's really like the damage that's done by the comb filter, it can't be undone, basically. So there's a lot of give and take as to what players do that and what players don't. There's a lot of people more knowledgeable than I on which ones to seek out and which ones not to seek out on that front. But that said, even on all my players, even the ones that probably do that, I stick with the composite jack and let something else do the comb filter splitting. And other question was, are tube TVs still superior to watch LaserDiscs on? Yes and no. I mean, you can get some interesting variances if you're watching it on a really good signal chain on a modern TV. I mean, I've seen some color gradations on my projector that is far more like film-like than anything I've seen on a CRT TV. CRT tube TVs, like direct view sets, like those big, heavy tube TVs, have just a killer natural contrast ratio. So, I mean, just deep blacks. Digital TVs have been trying to catch up to the just natural contrast ratio of those sets for a long time. So, that said, it makes, the bright parts of LaserDisc pop automatically pretty easily. So, it takes a lot more to finesse the picture on a modern display. But, a lot of people online are just like, CRT is the only way you can watch a LaserDisc, and as small as possible, 3 inches. And I got into LaserDisc because I got into home theater. And when I got into home theater to recreate the theatrical experience, that means as big as possible. So if I have to take a hit in image quality to make my image as big as possible, I'm going to take that hit. It's basically, I don't want the format to dictate how I watch it. I want to watch something big on any given format. And if Blu-ray is going to be better than DVD, it is going to be better than DVD. But I want to watch it on my wall or as big as possible. So there seems to be a kind of, a niche kind of fandom that's erupting where it's like, you have to, the LaserDisc has to be served by whatever you're viewing it on. So therefore you have to watch it on something tiny and something old and CRT, and I don't know. So it does make sense in terms of contrast and everything, but I cannot subscribe to the whole idea of watch it on something as small as possible, and that's how you get the most bang for your buck. I don't know, it just feels like if I would go back in time and tell myself from 1993 that, I would punch myself. So it's like, get out of here. I want to get rid of my 19-inch TV and get something bigger. But that said, if you can find like one of those cool like widescreen CRT TVs, like when the enhanced definition was coming out and all that kind of stuff, that's some cool stuff right there. I also don't like CRT rear projection TVs with LaserDisc. I never thought they looked good. I didn't think they looked good back in the day, and I don't really think they look that good now. So I'm pretty much all like straight CRT direct tube TVs or something newer, like plasma or SXRD. Not to harp on that again. And what are your recommendations? Oh, I kind of already said that. Great videos, but yeah, thank you, man. All right, Total Blue 31 Merley wrote in, if you get the game on Blu-ray, make sure it's the Criterion Collection version. Definitely, it's been on my my little wish list on Amazon and other places for a long time. Still mean to pick it up someday, as the older Blu-ray release sucks, as does the old, polygram DVD copy I used to own. What's the picture quality like on LaserDisc? I actually haven't checked it out yet. Thanks, though, to Ren from LaserDisc Forever for selling it to me, but I was so wrapped up in watching James Bond films and horror films, etc., that I hadn't had a chance to take it beyond from flipping open the gatefold and checking out the discs to actually putting them in the player and spinning it up. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out and digging into all of the extras. So more to come on that soon. There'll definitely be a LaserDisc Spotlight review on that film. Madison Crazyman also wrote in and just started watching any easy ways to get into LaserDisc. And definitely the easiest way, I think, depending on where your location is to hit some local sales, either through Craigslist, or if you're in Canada, there's Kijiji, stuff like that. If you go through eBay, there's instant product available, but it's going to be harder to find like a lot of LaserDiscs. Sometimes there'll be some small lots for a decent amount of money, and I've gotten some good deals on there. But the players themselves are going to be priced a little bit higher than if you find them locally. But I mean, that said, there's always a decent stash of LaserDisc players available at any given moment on eBay. If you're going to be looking locally in places like thrift stores, pawn shops, Savers, Salvation Armies, Goodwills, flea markets, etc., it's very hit or miss. I mean, for me, it's almost entirely miss. I've only seen one LaserDisc in a Goodwill. In my hunting career, I've found a handful of flea markets, and I've bought pretty much all of them. Never found a LaserDisc player at any of those places. I did see one, I think, at a tag sale years ago, but it wasn't really a player I was looking for at the time. So occasionally I'll find some players and some discs, etc. But that's more of like a long con kind of, that's through a career of hunting for these things. You'll find little pockets of material from time to time. But if you're looking for like deep impact, immediate, the best bang for your buck is always to get a local lot, because it's usually somebody who's been a collector or maybe related to a collector, and there's a high chance you're going to get a player and a big pile of discs for a reasonable amount of money, because everybody's just gonna want to move that stuff. So I've got some great deals from local Craigslist ads, and yeah, I mean, you definitely have more of a chance of finding lots where you get basically like a disc for $1 each for the larger lots, and usually a player essentially for free. So yeah, then you've got an instant collection and a player. So that's your best bet for the most part. So yeah, thanks for dropping all these questions, everybody. Thanks for participating and commenting and just being a correspondence over the past year. Thanks for all the subscriptions and just good words, and it's been great talking with everybody, and I'm super glad I did it. I wish I had fired up this channel years earlier when it was just sitting around in mothballs, when I could be talking about LaserDiscs and Blu-rays and cool stuff like that. So shame on me for taking my sweet time with getting this aspect of talking about movies going. But looking forward to everything I've got planned for the rest of 2015 and 2016 as well. So I got a lot of James Bond stuff coming. Spectre's coming out. I'm going to go see that in a day or two. And I just got a bunch of new books. So I'm going to do probably like a James Bond book collection scenario, because I got a lot of books related to the movies, and of course the Ian Fleming novels too. So I'll probably show those off. So I'll do that. I've still got LaserDisc Essentials videos coming down the pike, so many apologies for the long wait on those. It's just they take forever, actual production quality, to put those together. When it's easier for me to knock out some smaller things like reviews and everything. So I've got plenty more LaserDisc Spotlight reviews to come and all that kind of good stuff, including some requests that I had been slacking on getting out there. So all the backlog videos are all out there, so we're kind of starting fresh. So I just have to get some requests done and just get to making some more content. So looking forward to hearing from you guys over the next year, and hopefully you've been having a great time at the Culturedog channel, and look forward to talking to you soon. Cheers, you rule.